Hi. So we're hearing a lot about disruption today. The internet is only just starting to transform every industry. It's going to affect all of us. But I got some good news. I've got 10 tips on how to survive it and maybe also prosper from it. Because the future is moving quite quickly, and you don't need a crystal ball to look into that future to understand where the opportunities are. I collect predictions of the future from the past, and you can learn an awful lot about them. Here's a film from 1967 about what life would be like way ahead in 1999.
Fingertip shopping will be one of the many homemakers' conveniences. This video console will be channeled into the store of her choice. There, a camera will scan a display of wares, which she will select by push button. Another part of this console is a household monitor screen, which maintains a watch on critical areas in the house, swimming pool, or yard. What the wife selects on her console will be paid for by the husband at his counterpart console. All bills and transactions will be carried out electronically. A central bank computer will debit the family's account the amount of purchases and credit the department store, for example, informing the family's home computer at the same time. Father, at the touch of a button, receives an instantaneous printed copy of his budget, the amount of taxes he owes, the payments left on the car, and so forth. All documents and household records are available on the video screen for immediate reference. Also at his disposal is an electronic correspondence machine, or home post office, which allows for instant written communication between individuals anywhere in the world. To maintain these and hundreds of complex electronic circuits, a monitor checks all circuits every few seconds, inserts a backup circuit if and when trouble develops, and alerts the communal service agency for replacement.
You heard of this thing called the cloud? That was what the cloud looks like. So what I love about this is it's 44 years old, but it got it pretty much completely right. It's this, it's the smartphone. It's not technology, it's not the shape of the machines, it's not the complexity. It's finding a way to meet human needs. So, we want to communicate. This is our electronic correspondence machine. We want to purchase things, we want to watch videos of the kids. So I think my overall theme is don't be scared of the technology, but look at what it's doing in simplifying our lives, making us more social, more human. And once you understand that, things become fairly easy. So William Gibson, the science fiction writer who coined the term cyberspace, said something that kind of defines how I think that the future isn't a mystery, it's here. It's just unevenly distributed. You just have to see people on the edges and how they're behaving, because that behavior goes mainstream very quickly. Now, I thought 3 years ago I was joining a print magazine, Condé Nast magazine, Wired. It's about design and business and technology and everything that's changing. Except I'm not. I've been disrupted. I've had to learn how to make film and audio for an iPad edition. We're doing apps all over the place for Blackberries and iPhones. We're doing podcasts, so we have to be radio broadcasters. We're doing live events. So next week, we're reinventing what a magazine is as something you can experience. We've got this community around a brand, so they're going to pay to be there for speakers that represent the brand. But some of our other magazines are going in all sorts of other directions. So if you go to Moscow, Vogue is a cafe. GQ is a bar. You've got to be careful sometimes about overextending. Cosmopolitan magazine a couple of years ago became a yogurt, which I don't think was too on brand. Now, do you remember that scene in The Graduate where the Dustin Hoffman character, Mr. Maguire, said to him, "Benjamin, I've got one word for you, just one word." Well, today that word wouldn't be plastics, it would be mobile, because that's pretty much where everything is going, and you've just got to understand the scale of it. We're no longer in the age of the desktop internet. We're now officially in the internet on the mobile device era. And I'll give you a couple of numbers to explain that. But first of all, we got very excited about the consumer internet and its transformative power. But already on mobile, there's 3 times as many people. And they're upgrading to very powerful devices, more powerful than the first rockets that went into space. And just look at the numbers of devices out there in the mobile internet, just to get a couple of numbers. The mainframe computer era in the 60s, there were maybe 1 million machines. The PC era in the 90s, 100 million. And by the desktop era, 1 billion. But now already, we're talking about 10 billion or more units. Your gaming system connected to the internet, your Kindle, your car, everything is connected, and we're just at the early stages of this. And the reason I can say officially we're now in the mobile internet era is earlier this year, the number of smartphones and tablets overtook the number of PCs sold. And that was way before the analysts had predicted. So something huge is happening, and it's happening quite quickly. And just the way we're adapting to these new devices. So the first of my survival strategies is you really do need a mobile strategy now. It's not just about an internet strategy. And the second one is you need to learn this phrase, Solomo. Solomo? It's a word coined by this man, John Dare, who is a venture capitalist in Silicon Valley who made very wise early investments in things like Google and Amazon. And he now says, I only invest in companies that are social, local, and mobile. If your business has a combination of all 3 of these elements, then you're a fantastic bet. And I'll explain a bit about what all 3 of these mean, but that's where your consumer is. So looking at social through Facebook, for instance, because we're telling Facebook who we are, and companies are allowed to engage with us, and we say what we like and what we don't like, there's recruitment services like this, Branch Out, which are using the Facebook platform to fill vacancies based on your friends' recommendations. And huge numbers of people following up. 10,000 to 250,000 users in a month, and it's growing hugely. Every sector eventually is going to be touched by this. This is retail. This is an outdoor gear manufacturer, a giant nerd. Again, it lets you be social. It lets you tap into what your friends are recommending. 3,300 increase in traffic in just a few months. And they're converting, they're spending more money. There's something odd happening about if you trust someone, they will influence you to buy things. And then social gaming. This is just one company, this is a Berlin company called Wooga. Already it's got 36 million people actively playing on Facebook. Most of the games are free, but they're spending money in all sorts of weird ways. Virtual gifts, virtual goods. You buy fuel in a game to get to the next level. You need to understand what's happening on the social graph, because 700 or 800 million people already on Facebook, behavior is changing, and even Facebook is surprised. It talks about every business in every sector needing to redesign itself around the social graph. And I'll just give you some examples of what they're thinking and how it works. Travel sites, travel communities, you get the group sharing things. Advice, tips, recommendation, you're going to be influenced by someone you have a connection with.
I've been wanting to plan a trip to Beach Town since my friend Katie went and won't shut up about how great it is. But here's what happens when I research Beach Town on the travel sites. Hundreds of hotel links and reviews, and I still know basically nothing about Beach Town because I don't know who to listen to. So here's what I do instead. I go to Trippy and I start a new trip. I say where I'm going and what I'm looking for, and Trippy ties into my Facebook and other places to find my friends who can help. Oh look, Donnie went to school in Beach Town, and Mikey just checked in there last week. And of course, I know how much Katie loves Beach Town.
Hey, all right.
Sweetie, what was the name of that beautiful resort we stayed at?
Seashells.
Seashells.
Donnie says I should stay at Seashells, and some of my other friends seem to agree. So I click Add to Trip, and I can book it right from Trippy. Ooh, luxurious. I can't wait to stay there.
Oh, and I know how you love shrimp tacos. You have to go to Sandy's.
Yes, please.
Oh, that is amazing.
When I'm on my trip, I can use the Trippy app to capture it all in my album and share it with the people that made my trip great.
Hey, all right.
This trip is shaping up to be incredible. And if any of my friends are dreaming of a trip like this, it's real easy to copy it for themselves.
Oh, and you can't leave without taking your picture at Cappy's Bluff. It's sort of a tradition.
Okay, I'll do it. Cappy's Bluff. I knew I wanted to visit Beach Town. I got my friends to help me plan the trip, and I got to take them along for the ride. And what made it all possible? Trippy. It's the new way to travel.
It's just the first of a new wave of social travel applications, but you can see how powerful it is and why you don't need to respond to an email, to an advertiser, when you've got your friends and your friends' friends making suggestions. So this social recommendation, this community suggesting things, is happening in every sphere. It's happening in fashion and design sites like this, where people collectively are coming together to come up with the best outfit, the best dinner table setting, and voting up the best. It's solving some of the world's great problems. So you know that moment when you're in the changing room in the store and you don't know whether to get the blue top or the green top, and your other half isn't there to tell you. So you take a photo and you upload it live to sites like Go Try It On, and the community tells you which one looks better. And of course, it's leading to very strange things. People are sharing in real time their purchases by giving to websites like this their credit card details, their eBay, their PayPal accounts, and every time they buy something, it's published, and it starts a conversation. And I wouldn't do it, but I'm curious about why people are doing it. So my friend Ryan here, who's in California, was doing this with another site called Blippy. And, you know, I've just bought dental floss, I've just bought a T-shirt. But I also saw that he bought a gun, a Glock 23, and people were commenting on it. Hey, that's really cool. So I said, Ryan, why on earth are you doing this? What's the benefit for you? He said, well, actually, it makes me cool. It makes me have a reputation that's enhanced. I love the fact that other people are curious about what I'm buying. And I love knowing that other people I'm following on this site are also buying cool stuff, even if I don't know them. And I'm kind of interested to know what else they're buying. So big brands are going online and doing this social thing. So when Volkswagen last summer launched its Golf GTI, it didn't do an advertising campaign, it just did a Facebook campaign. And it realized that when you're buying a car, it's not just the price, it's the status. It's what your family and what your friends think about it. Have you made a cool choice? So it found a way to get you sharing your perfect car. Share my car through the social networks. And then give me comments. What do you think about my GTI spec? And it had 500,000 people go through this process. And it said it led to a huge rise in test drives. Success. So clothing companies, Levi's, if you're logged into Facebook and your friends are, you get a personal store. It tells you which jeans your friends like. So, you know, I would get David's store. And they're just experimenting big brands now, but they're finding success. So travel is obviously ripe for this. So we can share tips, we can share information, we can share the ability to learn things with each other. There's so much data out there. We're giving away data. And if you want to win, you have to find a way of turning that data into actionable information. So Eric Schmidt, who until recently was the boss at Google, said a couple of months ago that in all of human civilization up to 2003, collectively we generated about 5 exabytes of data. That's 5 billion gigabytes. But now we're producing that much every 2 days, and the pace is accelerating. Every video you watch, every Skype call. Data is becoming free to store. So I bought this storage device on Amazon for £50. It was 1 terabyte of data. You can do a lot on 1 terabyte. I don't actually listen to Lady Gaga that much, but I thought it would never fill up. I thought, when am I going to store that much? But it changed my behavior, and within 3 months it was full. You're not deleting things. Every video you watch, you take a backup. And you know, the price of storing data is pretty much zero now. So it's going to change all our behavior. We're going to tell the internet, the network, everything we're doing. And most of it is dead. But if you can tap into that, it's just, you know, fascinating. Think what the travel world can make of our preferences, our locations, our tips. And you can do beautiful things with it. Visually, we're finding a way of turning data into information. This is during the ash cloud. there's a public database of aircraft movements that this company, Ito, visualized, and you can see not much traffic. This is over, I think, a 48-hour time period. Not much traffic over Spain and Portugal then, but gradually the air fills up. Data is not just about visualization. It's powerful in all sorts of other ways. For about £100, £200, you can go to this California company and get them to send you this little tube where you put some saliva in, and 5 weeks later it gives you your own personal web pages with details about your genetic makeup, your risk factor for 50 or so illnesses, your likely outcome. Are you going to go bald? Do you have a flush reaction to alcohol? It's 23andMe, this company, and it's fascinating. I did it a few weeks ago, and as well as learning, where your maternal line and paternal line are from geographically, you also get an inbox where they tell you we have 891 cousins of yours in our database, and they divide them into second cousins, where you share a grandparent, I think, or great-grandparent, third cousins, fourth cousins, and the weird thing is you get an inbox where people can start sending you messages. And this is not a joke. I got one from Alison. Hello, my name's Alison. I'm contacting you because we share 0.62% DNA on 6 segments. We could be distant cousins. Do you want to talk? And I kind of figured, Alison, I still haven't caught up with my LinkedIn request and my Facebook friend request and my spam emails, so I'm not going to do the DNA database. But you see what happens. And illnesses. Can we have some volume on this?
Use inhalers to relieve asthma symptoms.
Think data, location, and health.
Their disease is managed. The Spira Scout is a small device that attaches easily to most inhalers. It uses GPS to automatically determine the exact time and location when the inhaler is used, because revealing where people use their inhalers provides valuable clues about environmental exposures that cause attacks. Our tools help patients, physicians, and public health agencies systematically track asthma in real time so that they can put the latest information to work to better understand and control the disease.
So, you've got asthma, you don't know where in the city is a risk factor. The data, the GPS, tells you, and you can share it online. Just think every industry is going to benefit from this sort of thinking. Geolocation, knowing where you are, the device knowing where you are, is incredibly powerful, and it connects the online and offline worlds in whole new ways. One example you may be familiar with is augmented reality through the smartphone. There's a company in Holland called Leia that is a browser, but anybody can come up with a layer of information visualizing data according to your coordinates. So one of my favorite apps is Plane Finder. You point it to the sky, it tells you where each of the planes up there is going, where it's from, how long it's been up there, and so on. If you want to buy property in Amsterdam, this is a layer that tells you wherever you are, what's for sale. You touch on it, you get the detail. But my favorite, I was in Berlin 2 weeks ago, and you go near where the Berlin Wall used to be, and through the screen, it shows you what it would have looked like. How does this enhance the experience of actually being somewhere? The internet connected with the physical place. So, we're now checking in using our mobile devices, getting special offers wherever we are. Foursquare doing a deal with Amex. This is going to grow. We're competing to win badges. So Virgin America partnered with Foursquare. So if you checked into the San Francisco terminal, you could check in a certain number of times, you become a captain or a navigator. But other interesting things are happening with geolocation. There's a London company called Badu, where it's run by a Russian guy I got to know. You can tell people where you are for a very specific purpose. You can guess what the purpose is, but you upload your photo and a couple of flirtatious lines about yourself, and you can set how near you want to meet people. It's a hookup app. 120 million members. The great thing is, it's free. But because so many people are coming through the search results, if you want to get noticed, you can pay £1 or €1 or $1 to rise higher up the search results, and they're making hundreds of millions a year, and the venture capitalists are all over it trying to buy a stake in them. Geolocation. And then the physical mixed with the internet is going to hit other sectors as well. So I love these health devices I'm starting to play with. This is a blood pressure monitor that plugs into your iPhone or your iPad. It's a French company called Things that develops it. It gives you medically valid systolic, diastolic pulse. And the great thing is you get your personal web display, and you can choose who to share it with. So you can share it with your physician, with your hospital. So one of the other ways to survive in this world of disruption is accept that the crowd has all the power now. They know better. So the only way you can compete with the internet, that big crowd, is adding value, doing things that the internet can't do. So the internet can find accommodation. Lots of these networks like Airbnb that are connecting people directly. That's not going to go away. Foreign currency is now bypassing the official banks. Companies like TransferWise, a flat £1 transfer fee, and they just do the simple bank rate in the middle. Peer-to-peer lending is growing. A company called Zopa in the UK. If you have money to lend, you set the rate. Somebody can choose what rate they pay. But the most extraordinary example of this is in Kenya, where they don't have many local banks or ATM machines. Vodafone, with the British government, set up a system called M-Pesa, which allows you to transfer money between cell phones. Just use their phone number and a PIN number. And now the estimates are that 25 to 30% of all money that's exchanged in Kenya goes through this little system. The banks are worried. So everything is changing. So you no longer need to sign up for a merchant account with a credit card company if you want to take plastic. There are these devices that stick onto your iPhone and turn them into credit card readers. You can even now collectively design and make a car. American company, Local Motors, the crowd designed this rally car, and they'll build it with you, $50,000. Who needs Detroit? The crowd is designing a university. So the guy called Sal Khan started putting educational videos online for his niece. A few thousand of them now, but they get millions and millions of views. It's now known as the Khan Academy. If you go online to the Khan Academy, you can have an education, a serious education. So
say hello to Dave.
Everything.
Dave owns
car
a car.
hire is now crowdsourced.
But it is expensive, and it often just sits there doing nothing. This morning, Dave put his car on Whipcar. It was completely free, and it only took him 5 minutes. This is Kate. Kate is lovely. She doesn't own a car, but she does.
Dave kept still. They didn't like his car. So Whipcar takes the idea that most of our day, our car, our second biggest asset after our house, is just lying there. So if you list it and you rent it out per hour and somebody wants to borrow it, Whipcar pays the insurance coverage, so you don't have to worry about your no-claim bonus. There's a whole bunch of sites like this now which are disintermediating. They're cutting out the middleman. And the community together can do anything. It can spot police radar traps. It can tell you how fast the traffic's going. This is an Israeli company called Waze, W-A-Z-E, that once you sign in, it tracks your car's movements through your mobile device, and it displays it for everybody's benefit. It's very exciting, but it doesn't need the old institution. So there is infinite information on the internet, and there's no point trying to keep things to yourself, trying to keep secrets. The old advantages you had having access to scarce information have gone. And I think the consumer is more demanding now about honesty. You can't cheat them. You can't pull the wool over their eyes. These are barcode scanner apps that you can find out how much something really costs. When I go into a bookshop now, I scan the book and see if I can get it cheaper on some of the online sites. And sorry, bookshops, that's what I do. You can buy clickers online as well. Can we move it forward manually? So one thing I want to talk about is our changing expectations of being connected the whole time. One of them, it's now a human right, is that we expect to be online. We expect accessible Wi-Fi. So I've got this thing. I was in the hotel, the Grand Melia, last night, and I needed to go online to, check a few things, do a bit of work. And they wanted €8 an hour to go online, or 18 euros a day. So I kind of swallowed. And then I got online, and it was so slow, they made me upgrade to the 24 euros a day. And I was thinking, is this like being in the bathroom and running a bath, and they're charging you 18 euros to run a bath. Then you get in the bath, and it's cold, and they'll say, ah, you didn't say you wanted hot water. I think it's foolish for any hotel to charge for basic vanilla Wi-Fi. Charge us for the extra, the high bandwidth, the watch video Wi-Fi. But now it looks like a rip-off. And if you can get free Wi-Fi in Starbucks and McDonald's, then why are you in a hotel charging us 24 euros? So I write a column for Condé Nast Traveler, and I have called for a boycott of hotels doing this. I know it's going to be slightly controversial, but I think the consumer is increasingly going to see it as charging for water or electricity on top of your bill. So you need to understand that people's mindsets are changing now. There's a psychology happening, partly through the gaming world. They're paying for things that don't have a physical value. There's an online nightclub in an online asteroid called Project Entropia that last year sold for $635,000 real dollars. Why? Because people spent enough time engaging with it that it built up a community. There's a free iPhone game, Mini Tycoon Casino. The guy who runs the company told me a few months ago that one woman had just paid $40,000 to personalize her corner of the casino. Psychology is weird, but to her, it's an expression of her identity, and that's where her life is. So you can now quantify your online power, your online reputation. There are sites like Clout that give you a score out of 100 based on how many people are influenced by your tweets and retweeting them and how important the people retweeting them are. So I need to get higher than 54, but this is actually not just a random number. There are employers starting to say, we're not going to interview people unless they've got a score above, say, 50. And there was a Fashion Week party in New York a couple of weeks ago where they asked for a score of 40 before they'd let you in.
Hi guys,
What if Facebook was in real life?
Can I write on your wall?
No.
Will you be my friend? But I write on all my friends' walls.
I think I'd have to know you before I was your friend.
All my friends have got like 180 friends. I've only got 2.
Yeah?
Would it help if maybe like you looked at my photos? That one's with 2 like really pretty girls. Like, you know, that's my ex. You know, I was in a relationship with her, but you know, I've changed my status now.
Okay.
Yeah. What's your relationship status?
Single.
Oh, good. Cool. I like that.
Do you?
Yeah.
Good.
I like your jacket.
Thank you.
I like your sunglasses. Do you like that?
Yeah.
Do you want to comment on it? I like your Ray-Bans. Could I poke you? Poke? Poke? No?
No.
What, poke? What, you want to poke?
Can I poke you?
Yeah, you can poke me if you want.
Yeah.
I mean, how am I... No, dude, seriously, just be my friend. If I just...
So I won't get to the bit where he starts asking if he can follow people and then follows them through London. This is actually a trailer for an opera that the English National Opera did about what we're sharing. But if you think about it, our behaviour online is weird. It's not anything that we would tolerate in the offline world. And this sort of game psychology is percolating all sorts of things as well. So it's now, you compete with strangers. If you have a Prius, the dashboard is competitive. How much energy can you save? And it compares it with people. There are now electricity bills coming from, there's an American company called O-Power that's coming to Europe. It doesn't just tell you how much power you've used, but it tells you a comparison between your neighbours and then your most efficient neighbours. And it says that people who get these types of gamified bills are using 4% less fuel because we want to win. And then we're doing sporting app-collected data gathering and we're sharing it with our friends, so we have a value in that world. So we've got all this data happening, we're sharing all our social stuff, people know where we are. What does this mean for traditional ideas of privacy? They're kind of over. So this is what ordering a pizza is going to be like in the near future.
Pizza Palace, guaranteed hot in 30 minutes or it's free. This is Mary. May I take your order?
Hi, Mary. Yes, I'd like to order.
Is this Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Thank you for calling again, sir. I show your national identification number is 610-204-999-8-45-54610. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. I see you live at 736 Montrose Court, but you're calling from your cell phone. Are you at home?
I'm just leaving work, but I'm...
Oh, we can deliver to Bob's Auto Supply. That's at 175 Lincoln Avenue, yes?
No, I'm on my way home. How do you know all this stuff?
We just got wired into the system, sir.
Oh, well, I'd like to order a couple of your double meat special pizzas.
Sure thing. There'll be a new $20 charge for those, sir.
What do you mean?
Sir, the system shows me that your medical records indicate that you have high blood pressure and extremely high cholesterol. Luckily, we have a new agreement with your national health care provider that allows us to sell you double meat pies as long as you agree to waive all future claims of liability.
What?
Do you agree, sir? You can sign the form when we deliver, but there is a charge for processing. The total is $67 even.
$67?
Well, that includes the delivery surcharge of $15 to cover the added risk to our driver of traveling through an orange zone.
I live in an orange zone?
Now you do. Looks like there was another robbery on Montrose yesterday. You could save $48 if you ordered our special Sprout Submarine combo and picked it up yourself. Comes with tofu sticks. Those are very tasty, sir. Good value, too.
But I want double meat.
Well, I'm sure you can afford the $67 then. You just bought those tickets to Hawaii. They weren't cheap, eh? Oh, but I see you checked out the budget beach bum at the library last week. Up to you, sir.
All right. I'll get the Sprout subs.
Good choice, sir. Gotta watch that waist if you're hitting the beach, eh? 42 inches. Wow. Man, I'd say tofu and sprouts is like required.
That's how much?
Just between you and me, there's a $3.
That wasn't actually an advert for pizza. That was a warning for the American Council for Civil Liberties, but I think it's too late. We did a special on privacy in our magazine a few months ago, and we decided to see what publicly available information there was online for a bunch of our subscribers at random. And we got what they were saying on the open internet. We didn't hack into phones, on Twitter, on Facebook, on the electoral register. And we sent them a personally printed cover, and it was really quite disconcerting for them. They didn't realize that their kids had put up YouTube videos which had the parents talking about very private things, and they'd had arguments with their boyfriends and so on. So the last of my 10 ways to survive is it's happening not just online, it's happening in the real world, physical manufacture. So 3D printing, you're going to hear a lot more about. This is machines that we can control to make things that we want, printing them layer by layer based on things we've designed in software. Car engine parts, this is printed on light but solid steel. There's medical grade titanium back implants. There's a London company called Within Technologies that's making these. Look at the quality of them. You can make anything with these 3D printing machines. And it's doing for physical products what blogs did for words. Everybody is a creator. Can we advance? This Stradivarius, printed by a 3D machine, scanned an original Stradivarius. We had this in our office. It's a company in Germany called EOS that makes them, and it was being played. And I'm no expert, but it sounded pretty credible to me. It's a bicycle printed in one go in nylon, a UAV made by some students in Southampton in a week or so, fashion that fits you. I've just got a couple of things here that I just brought with. I like toys. So this is a piece of chainmail printed by one of these EOS machines, and the great thing is it's printed in one go. They didn't print each separate bit and interlink them. And then this little plastic thing, it's a ball within a ball within a ball within a ball, and it's all, again, printed layer by layer in one go. So that's pretty exciting. And the other thing I think I'm going to leave you with is the way we interact with machines is going to be much more human. Kinect from Microsoft that tracks you, you don't need a remote control. That's going to come to all sorts of other devices. Minority Report, if you remember that, the world will interact with us as human beings. And just, there's a company in Sweden, to give you one example. The company's called Tobii, and it's developed a camera that tracks your eyes. Mostly used to optimize web pages or magazine ads and so on, but they've now embedded it in laptops. I tried one of these. You don't use your hands. You navigate the laptop, no mouse, no keyboard. You look, you can drag files, you can open folders. Slightly weird, but it is one of the futures. So disruption, get used to it. It's not going to go away. Douglas Adams, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy writer, said something wise I'm going to leave you with, that anything invented before you're 15 is kind of part of the order of nature. Anything invented between your 15th and 35th birthday, could be cool, new and exciting. You might actually make a bit of money out of it. But anything invented after that day is against nature and should be prohibited. So I'm not going to ask how old anybody is in this room, but I would advise you to talk to the interns, to talk to the 15-year-olds, because their world is becoming your world very quickly. So even as I've been standing here, this is what's been happening in social media. Just in the last couple of minutes. Wow. Thank you very much.